Efendim sırada yine kıymetli bir konuşmacımız var. Matthias Madov. Firmasının adı ne? Şirketin adı ne? Bak. Secure Code Warrior. Yani güvenli kod savaşçısı. Bak güvenli kod savaşçısı. Güzel, fantastik isim bulmuş baba, değil mi? Helal olsun. İşine, gerçi siz biliyorsunuz da ben üstünden geçeyim diye söylüyorum. Yazılımcılara güvenli yazılım yazma eğitimi veriyor. Bak, işi baştan çözelim. Ya şimdi bu kod işi bizde artık okullarda bile ders olarak veriliyor, değil mi yani? Ya da çok artık önemli oldu. Biz bunu idrak ettik de, yani yeni idrak etmeye başladık gibi biliyorum ben dışarıdan bir vatandaş olarak. Yani bizim kodla alakamız uzun yıllar kodumu oturturum şeklinde kavgada söylenen ya da birisinin arkasından, yanından, kenarından söylenen tehditkar ifadeydi. Ama kodumu oturturumla hayatın zenginleşemeyeceği ortaya çıktı. Biz kod yazılımını çözmeye başladık. Ama onun da güvenli olması lazım. Bahsinde de işte baba diyor ki ya bu iş en baştan olur diyor. Ya sonradan diyor niye yorulalım diyor. Halbuki yazılımcı diyor güvenli yazılım işini diyor bizim eğitimlerle çözerse diyor alır yürürüz diyor ya. Doğru söylüyor adam. Her şeyin başında halledeceksin. Yani kervan yolda düzülür diye der atalarımız ama hani kervanı baştan da organize etmek herhalde büyük rahatlık verir. Matyas'ı dinleyelim bir. Nasıl yazılımda güvenli yazılımı sağlayacağımızı bir idrak edelim diyorum ben. Ne dersiniz? Hadi buyursunlar.
Welcome, my friend. It has been a while since you were in Shield in Istanbul. It was on the physical stage, now virtual stage. It is the V Shield today, the new normal, if you call it a normal. I don't know. But anyway, thanks for accepting my invite.
Thank you very much, Gökhan. Yes, it's been a couple of years. I think 2-3 years ago, I was physically in Istanbul for the Shield conference. I had an amazing day. So thank you very much for having me again virtual.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. So, like many others, you started your career. I want to just go and jump in my questions with magical Commodore, I call it. I'm wondering how many million of IT gurus were inspired by that. If they're long gone, unfortunately, such a shame. But anyway, so you started programming, then you had an interest in security. You started Ghent University. Critical milestones in your life, my friend, and it's an incredible journey from my side to founding one of the hottest companies in DevSec, Secure Code Warrior with Peter. So yet to go along, I know it. You will do a lot more, but can you tell us about your journey up until now?
Absolutely. So you're right. One of my very first computers was a Commodore 64. Loved that machine. I still have it, by the way, and it's still boxed. I still even have the box. Anyway, started my career at Ghent University, where I pursued a PhD in application security. With my PhD, I actually moved to the US and joined, and at that time, small company called Fortify. What Fortify and static analysis solutions are really, really good at is finding problems in code. I've spent 7 years over there. I really enjoyed it. But ultimately, I was like, well, gee, it's kind of easy to find problems in code if you never tell a developer how to write secure code in the first place. So I actually jumped ship. And yes, together with Peter, we started Secure Code Warrior, where the whole philosophy was like, hey, how can we really help developers? How can we be on the side of the developer, help him, make sure that he produces secure code so he gets essentially security off his back? That was our entire idea. It also had to scale, you know, if you're 1,000 or 10,000 developers in an organization, how can you make sure that they all write secure code from the start? So that was our entire philosophy about Secure Code Warrior. How can we be really, really there for the developer?
Interesting. You know, when Mark Anderson famously said in 2011, software is eating the world, no one clearly understanding what he said, but everyone thought that it was a good thing, right? But
absolutely,
it came with bad and ugly after that, not only good, unfortunately. So there is a big race over there. Everybody wants better and faster, and DevOps is a great friend.
Mm-hmm.
You can say that security is a great friend yet. I wish we're going to get there, but some organizations, many organizations adopted DevOps approach, but the operation guys and dev guys, they're okay, but they still skip many times the security, unfortunately. And, you know, looking at all the researches, you see that still most think that their application security is great, but they still push vulnerable code.
Yes.
So, you know, have you seen that DevOps approach successfully implemented? Is there a room for improvement? What do you think?
Absolutely. So first of all, yes. So we're all moving from waterfall into this DevOps cycle where our whole idea is, you know, can we get some rapid feedback cycles? Can we also make the developer responsible for his code when he's pushing code out? Can we make him responsible for his code? So the first thing we need to do is make sure that DevOps and Ops are at the same level. Before we throw security into the mix, we have to really make sure that the developer is responsible for his code, is writing the tests, you know, everything is over there. He pushes code out fast and reliable. So if all of that is there, then yes, we can throw in security. And if we throw in security, we have to make sure that we keep the same mindset, which is, you know, it has to be rapid, it has to be fast, we have to ship code in a reliable way. So we really have to make sure that we keep the end goal into mind, which is, can we ship code in a reliable way? That is how you need to approach security. And not the other way. Like in the old days, we thought about security like how many problems can we find? That is not really what you want to do. You really want to contribute with security to the end goal, which is, you know, your customers need to be happy with your software. They need to be happy with the applications that they're using. And the only way you do that is if they say, yes, I'm confident to using that app. It does not break. It is safe for me to use that app. That is your end goal.
So if that day comes, and it has to come anyway, we will not have to call it DevSecOps. I mean, DevOps at the end of the day is meaning what you say. And if they don't forget security, then there is no problem. No secure DevOps, SecDevOps, DevSecOps, you know, these
yes.
are all confusing things, but you know, at the end of the day, it's all about a good quality code, right?
Absolutely. You just need to seamlessly flow in there, you know, like you have quality, you have security. It is not the standalone thing. It should be part of everything. Quality is part of everything. Security should be part of everything. It's the exact same thing.
We are not there yet because developers focus. They used to be creating amazing code. It is very important for them, but security is always afterthought. You know, I mean, do you think that has changed? And developers have universally accepted security as part of their responsibility. What do you think?
So very, very good question. So I think it works both ways between management and developers. So first of all, when there's a problem, management point to developers and says, you know what, it's your fault. Why didn't you produce secure code, you know? Where developers are like, well, we want to do that, but unfortunately we were not given time to do that. So they kind of point back and say, well, we had to deliver this particular feature by yesterday. So we simply did not have time to embed security. However, you know, moving forward, I think quite often companies are ready now. They accept like, hey, we need to invest in our developers. They need to be educated. Our developers. So today the developers have less of an excuse. They are quite often given time to educate themselves, to learn about producing secure code. At that point in time, I think it is very important that these developers use an education system which is really interesting for them. A developer is like, you know, I want to do something interesting. I want to do something fun. So the way you hand over security challenges to developers should be fun and engaging. It should also be relevant. If they're working on Java code today, you should not give them a .NET course. It does not make sense. Same, you know, Java, JavaScript, it's not the same thing. Don't give them a course if they're in one and you know, and they're in the other. So it should be fun, engaging, relevant, because today they are given time. But it has to fit their world. It has to fit their model of the developer.
So what I get from what you say, it is also, you maybe call it a leadership problem, right? Because at the end, the goals are being put by the leaders, by the managers. And if they don't put SMART goals, I mean, one is in the SMART is achievable, right? If they don't have enough time, then they can't do it. Is this also a leadership problem?
So absolutely. So DevOps and DevSecOps, the idea is everybody rallies around it. For security, everybody throughout the organization rallies around security. You as a company, as a leader in that company, has to say, you know what, for our organization, security is important. You know, we want to make sure that our customers, they can use our application and feel safe, that their data will not be stolen, that they can do transactions in a reliable way. So you as a company has to make that statement, and everybody has to rally around that. Yes, absolutely.
I call it 3F in DevSec, you know, DevSecOps. It is find, fight, and fix.
Yep.
Security guys find the vulnerabilities, weaknesses, and then they have to fight with everybody, not only the developers, most probably, and then it is fixed sometimes, not all the time. So why is it so hard to engage Dev and Sec teams?
Oh, very interesting. So Dev and Sec, 5-10 years ago, we're not talking the same language. You know, developers are all about, oh, I need to build this feature. It's going to be, you know, interesting. The customer will be able to do something with that. And security was all they were thinking, you know, how can I break that? Throw it over the wall to developers, tell them to fix it, and then run away. You know, that was the idea. So they were both living on different planets. Today, I must say that developers have more and more power in an organization. They own the code, they own the features. Security has to kind of fit in there. You know, they really have to figure out how can I help the developer, and not by calling their baby ugly, but hey, how can I help them by helping them making more beautiful code and make sure that I'm embedded in there. And one requirement for security people, application security people right now, is being able to code. The days that you can move papers around are over. You have to code. You have to be there for the developer. So moving forward, there's going to be more and more cross-pollination between, you know, developers moving into security because they have an interest, and the security people that want to be in that space, well, they have to learn how to program.
Interesting, man. So if they do this, do you believe that security people will not be seen as blockers, but enablers? Right?
Oh, the blockers thing. Yes, a very good one. So we've always been seen as blockers, and rightfully, that's exactly why we started Secure Code Warrior. For once and for all, we do not want to be the blockers. We want to help the developers. We want to make them get through it. And there's not a lot of positive security today in the market out there. So what we really want to do is help the developers. And these blockers, we have to remove them. And I can make a suggestion here how to remove them. So quite often we say, you know, we have to break the build. We have to stop the developers. We have to tell them how bad they are. That is not the end goal of an organization. The end goal of an organization, and especially for developers, is ship code reliably. And security should contribute to that. So the metrics that you need to measure against is how can we help developers, not how many problems can you find, because you know what, that doesn't matter. It's how many problems can you fix. That is a very good metric. Or how fast can we be back up and running. That is a really good metric. You know, if there's a failure, you know, fine, fail fast, but make sure that you're up and running quite quickly. So that would be really my advice here.
So you say help. I mean, our job, security's job, is to help the dev guys. Are we helping them enough as a security team?
Unfortunately, today, no, because there's, on the one hand, you have the talent shortage. You know, if you look in organizations, So for the people that are seeing that, look at your organization, look at the number of developers, look at the number of application security people. On average, you should have like 1 in 100 people. You know, think about 100 people. Think about guiding 100 people on a day-to-day basis. Have you even met 100 people this month? I have not. You know, I have not. I think I've not spoken to 100 people this month. And think about, you have to guide them. You are responsible day in, day out for all the code that they've written. That is impossible. So the way we can move along is, again, we should enable the developers. We should find solutions that we can help developers in big masses. If they are 10,000 people, 1 in 100, you know, it's not going to work out. So we need to find solutions to help them in masses. So the way we do that is we enable developers, we help developers, they become interested and they become supporters of that solution, and they talk in their team about, you know, security and how to produce secure code, and you essentially create a snowball effect. So you can start small, but you should find the right ways, the right triggers within developers to implement that skill, to implement security throughout the organization.
So I hear you, my friend, and it is very clear that it is not only mental and psychological problem, it is a physical problem for both sides. There is not enough time in the work. So DevSecOps is huge, by the way. So where do you advise companies to start?
DevSecOps, so if you start by introducing the security with developers, well, we have to think about the mindset of the developers. A developer is a creative person. He's working on code. He's working on a computer. So the way I would suggest starting engaging with the developer is, you know, something like a hackathon or a tournament or something where that a developer is like, well, that is quite interesting. That is quite new. For example, within Secure Code Warrior, we have something called a tournament where they look at challenges. They try to find the problem in the code. They try to find the security problem into the code, and they try to find the fix to fix that problem. It's a fun and engaging way. The idea is to learn something. Yes, there's a competition element in there, but if you just want to learn, you learn. Again, very important over there is it should be relevant for the developer. If you're working on COBOL, you should see COBOL challenges. If you're working on JavaScript, you should see JavaScript challenges. If you're working on a particular framework, if you're working on Java EE, well, you should be in Java EE and not Java something else, you know? So very relevant. And I think that is a good way to start, because quite often what we see is they learn something new, they find it interesting, they go back to their desk and they say, oh my God, this was interesting. You should do the same thing. So that's one thing. Another way to start with developers is very similar. It's bite size, and it's in line with what they're doing. For example, if they are given a vulnerability to fix, let's say SQL injection, and they have no idea what SQL injection is, well, there should be automatically a link to a very short training module where they learn about SQL injection, again, in the language and the framework that they're using on a day-to-day basis. So they pick up a bug, they say, oh my God, I have no idea. Instead of Googling and finding random things, they can go straight into a very relevant training module that helps them. They go back to work and they're able to fix that. So the way we engage with developers, the way we get started is, to me, really put yourself into the shoes of a developer. What does he care about? Why does he come to work? Well, ultimately, he wants to get his job done as fast as possible. So give him the right information at the right time. And it should be fun and engaging, and he should learn something new. So in a security way, do a hackathon, do a tournament.
Yeah, tournaments are great because they are fun. It is not like a test, it is a competition. So there is also some awards after them, right? It is
absolutely. So if you do it right in an organization, yeah, if you do it right, you can give out the drone or whatever for the first one, and they go back and they even have more. They even had more fun then. Yes.
But you know, still the problem is time. So developers find it so hard to find the time to dedicate to security training. What advice would you give them to help this problem?
Yes. So time. It is in two ways, you know. So from a management perspective, you can also say, you know what is the ROI of my time? Let's say they invest 2 hours in training each month. You know, oh my God, what is my ROI over here? So first of all, you have to look at the long-term game, you know, because the long-term game is if you do not train people, if you do not educate your developers on how to write secure code, there's a couple of things that can happen. One, you get hacked. Average cost of a breach, I'm not sure how many millions it was, 3 or 4 million, but it's just a lot of money, brand damage, and so on. Or you find the problems late. And if you find the problems late, they're 30 times more expensive than fixing them early on. So the joke goes that, well, we only fix 1 in 30 problems these days. So, you know, maybe it's a good idea to take that money and invest that early on. So you really have to look at the long-term game and see your investment over time. But still, you ask the question like, hey, how can you get time? How can you create time? Because quite often that is not well understood, you know. There's a couple of ways on how to create time and how to make sure that you get time to do that. It's just record the time you spend on fixing problems. You know, record the time that you spend on fixing problems like SQL injection, like cross-site scripting, all these things that bubble up late. The easiest one, if you get hacked, they immediately understand why you need to invest time in educating your people. Another one is quite interesting, which is if they break into your neighbor's house, quite quickly your management team understands why you have to invest in a burglar alarm in your house. So if one of your competitors gets hacked, they quite quickly understand, you know, why they really need to invest time. So there's a couple of avenues. One is better than the other one. The easiest one for me is really making sure that you have this long list of problems that are found late and how much time you will need to dedicate to fix that. And today it's an astronomical amount. You know, we have tons and tons of legacy code. We know of problems. I've never seen an empty bug tracking system. Maybe you've seen one, but I've never seen an empty bug tracking system. So
I wish.
Yes.
So let's. I mean, it is such a great conversation. Thank you, my friend. Let's finish with some fortune telling. You know, it is because I really want to understand what you think of future is going to bring us. I mean, DevSec, DevOps is becoming the new norm. It is not a new thing, but it is becoming newly mature, let's say, with many companies out there. So where is security going within that?
Where is security going into the future? For me, I think security becomes more and more part of the process. Right now, it is seen as something else, another group, the AppSec group, it's outside of us. Sure, there will still be a group that oversees security, but it's still going to be more and more embedded into what we just do. What we just do as developers is we produce qualitative code, and security is just part of that. And that's really what I hope is going to happen, where we as developer community, when we produce code, we think about, you know, this has to be qualitative code, and security is just part of that. And it's just embedded into the process. So when we deliver something to our customers, they want to have a reliable piece of code, and with reliable, it means, you know, it has to be qualitative, but it also has to be secure. So that's what I see. It's just going to be part of the process.
So you are most probably hoping for a future where the developers know how to code securely. They're all trained. And on the other side, CI/CDs, that security is integrated, automated to CI/CD. Everything is working. We are not only finding the problems, fixing them timely. They're all automated. But, you know, we are not creating many problems in advance because devs know how to secure code securely.
Yes, absolutely. So in the software development lifecycle, there's always activities that you can do along those stages. In my view, I think you still need all of them. You still need to do threat modeling. You still need to help the developers write secure code and educate and train them. You still need your static analysis solution to find all these theoretical problems. You still need dynamic analysis because, you know, this is the front door. If dynamic analysis finds it, the attackers and the adversary will for sure find it. And you still need stuff in production, a WAF or a RAST, to protect yourself against things that are happening on the fly. So my advice is absolutely true. You need something in every stage of the development lifecycle. a layered approach, essentially.
Your last words to your friends in Turkey, my friend.
My last words for my friends in Turkey is, if you're a developer, make sure that you're involved when they pick and choose the tools and the training. Because guess what? Ultimately, you will need to use them. So if you don't like them, you're stuck with these tools and training forever. So my advice to developers in Turkey is really, if you're going to adopt, if you're going to choose new tools, new training, new education, be part of that process, engage. It's happening. Security is coming. So do not try to fight it, because you're going to be given something. Just make sure that the thing that you're given, you actually like.
Perfect. But yes, thank you very much for your time. It was great to talk to you.
Gökhan, thank you very, very much for having me.
Soon, my friend.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.